Warm welcome to everybody on behalf of myself as Chair, Councillor Madiha Asim. Before we begin, I'd just like to remind everybody that questions need to go through the Chair. That includes from members and from residents as well. I'd like to give a huge thanks to the outgoing Chair, Councillor Alan Mitchell, for all the work and support he's done as Chair in the previous panels. I'd like to also thank Carol for allowing us to use the centre and its facilities. I'd like to also give thank you to Surplus, to Supper for providing the refreshments today, to all of our charity organisations who are in the room with us, and most importantly to our wonderful residents who have taken the time out to come and join us. That being said, we move on to the first item on the agenda, which is apologies for absence, declarations of interest, and any communications from members. Any members? None? Okay. Thank you. Right, now I'd like to move on to announcements. The first one is from me. On behalf of all councillors, we'd like to give a huge congratulations to everybody who sat their GCSE exams and any other exams in the borough. Now I'd like to also pass over to Councillor Alan Mitchell for his announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say in the summer, which only finished yesterday, is that right? Or is it still summer? Is it, Novi? Oh, like it was never summer. Thank you, Councillor Lillybath. The sun always shines in Feltham, doesn't it? The history group are all nodding, so there you go. Yeah, we had the Urban Youth Music Bus in the town centre a couple of weeks ago. What a fabulous thing that was. The Pulse Youth Club at Highfields helped set that up, Rise and Thrive, Darren and his team, and it was great to see youngsters from the Highfields estate and roundabout there taking part in the activities on that bus, learning how to use software, compose their own music. What a wonderful thing that was. So I think that's well worth of a mention. And also that they had their summer fete on the 17th, which was hugely successful and is a testament to the work that the Feltham Community Development Association and the team at Highfields do for the community and the young people. And Madam Mayor, Karen Smith, enjoyed it too. So I wanted to put that on record. And finally, isn't it great, as Councillor Asim alluded to just now, to be here in Carol's Den at the Bedfont Lane Community Centre. Round of applause for Carol and all her volunteers for the amazing work they do for people very often who are struggling in those school holidays with their young people. And Carol and her team deserve all of our thanks and support. And we're very pleased that the toilets and other things are being done now and things are moving forward. So isn't that great? Thank you, Chair. Sorry for going on too long.
You never go on too long, Councillor Mitchell. Thank you very much for the announcement. We now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of March and any matters arising from those minutes. Are there any matters arising, members? No? Agreed. Okay, thank you. Okay. Now, the next part of the agenda is what we call the community spotlight. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Carol, who's going to come and do some break dancing for us.
Hi everyone. With the backing of all our councillors.
You know what to do.
No, it's fine.
No, it's for the recording.
Can you hear? Oh, right. Not loud enough, Alan. All right. Hi everyone. My name's Carol. I've been running Bedfont Lane Community Centre for the last 8 years. We are volunteers. We're lucky that we do have the backing from our councillors, which I will thank them for always being there when we need to push what's going on. Throughout the week, we have lots of different groups in here that pay a small amount of rent, and it all goes back in to support the community centre. Through the holidays, we've done 5 weeks worth of children's activities, which the parents attended, and we've done from age 3 upwards, because lots of people have been coming from all over the borough. We've had them coming from Ashford, Staines, everywhere to the activities that we do with the kids. We've done arts and crafts, we've done cooking with them, we've done lots of different things, and we've had a really good turnout, as we usually do. So every summer, every holiday, we try and run at least 2 or 3 activities for the children. During the week, we have a lot going on. We have a lot of groups that run things for mental health. We have community boxing, which is on here 3 times a week, and they've started doing it for 6 years and upwards on a Wednesday evening now, which is being supported by the community centre, so they're not charging much money, which is affordable for everybody. It's £3 a session. At the weekends, we hire the hall out to the public at a reasonable price for parties and different things like that. And future, looking forward, we've got a lot of things planned. We've got Christmas parties planned, we've got Halloween discos planned, and lots of stuff for the community. Okay?
Thank you very much, Carol. If any residents are interested in any of the activities that Carol and the centre do, she is there for you to go and speak to her at the end. So please feel free to do that. Now moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the traffic consultation information. I do hope that residents have had the opportunity to speak with representatives from traffic and transport about the new strategy. Moving forward with our strategy, earlier this evening at the marketplace, I would like to invite Robert Heslop to give some information on how residents can get involved.
Hi, thank you, Councillor. Hi, yeah, my name's Robert Heslop. I'm the Head of Transport Planning and Road Safety. And I'm just here to talk a little bit about our transport strategy and the consultation that we are running at the moment. So I've got a few slides, but I won't go into a huge amount of detail. There's a lot of information on the slides. Hopefully, you've had a chance to speak to my colleagues, Tara and Arundhati, who were moving around before the meeting started, just asking questions about transport, asking for your views. So why does the transport strategy need an update? So our current strategy was approved in 2019, and obviously a lot has happened in that intervening period. So we've had the climate emergency declared, we've had obviously the pandemic, which has changed the way a lot of people travel. So we want to update the strategy to take into account those in particular, but there's a lot of other work that the colleagues in the council have been doing around public health, around equalities. So we've got a new corporate plan as well, or the current corporate plan as well. So there's a lot of work that has happened in the interim, and we just felt this is the right time to go back and do a refresh. The current strategy is around over 100 pages long as well. So we want to make it easier for people to read as well, and make it a lot clearer and more accessible. But we also have a statutory duty to have a programme of works. So we get funding from TfL for a lot of the work that we do around the capital delivery, so road safety engineering, active travel improvements, but also the complementary work that we do in road safety and education and cycle training as well. And we want to refresh, most importantly, we want to hear your views and views from people across the borough about what you want and what you think is needed. So just a few facts there on the screen. So 60% of journeys in the borough are made by walking, cycling and public transport. A third of the households in the borough don't own a car. And I mentioned public health. Only 28% of residents walk, wheel or cycle for at least 20 minutes a day, which is the recommended minimum exercise. 100 people die prematurely due to poor air quality in the borough every year. And transport equates to 32% of CO2 emissions in the borough, which is the biggest contributor to emissions in the borough. So, as I said, there's a lot of work that's been done by colleagues over the last 3, 4, 5 years, and a lot of those consultations reference transport and travel as key issues. So, the Fair and More Equal Hounslow consultation on equality, diversity, inclusion raised better access to the transport network to improve transport and parking facilities, particularly for people with disabilities. A parking and curbside strategy consultation raised the fact that nearly 50% of the people in the borough are worried about the impact of poor air quality, and would like to see a more diverse curbside as well, not just for parking. Disability and Age Equality Partnership, we've done some work with them. Concern again raised about the quality of our pavements and bus services, and children and young people, which I think is really important. Again, priorities, better public transport and road safety. So we want to update the strategy to make it a lot clearer on including all of these concerns that have been raised. So as I said, we get a lot of funding from TfL, and we have a target set by the Mayor of London. So he's asked us to try and make 71% of journeys in the borough to be made by active travel, walking or cycling or public transport by 2041. And we've also signed up to working towards Vision Zero, which is essentially that no one is killed or seriously injured on our roads by 2041. And I've got there as well are other targets that we want to, or the objectives we want to reach in terms of public health and climate and environment. So I won't dwell on this slide because there's a lot of writing on it, but essentially we want to make the document easy to read. That's essentially what it comes down to, just to update with all that work that's been done in the last few years and to make it easier to read and to meet those targets that we've been set. Again, I won't dwell too much on this slide, but again, it just sets out all of those. At the top are all the existing strategies that the transport strategy will feed into and support. And at the bottom underneath are documents that we will be either have been drafted or will be drafted to support the transport strategy and how we're going to take that forward in detail. So I think this is probably the most important slide. So what's our aim? So at the top, it's to listen to what's important to you when you move around the borough. That's the key thing, because then we can feed that message back to other partners, to the TfL, to Network Rail, to South Western Railways. But we need to understand how people travel in the borough for different journeys at different times. And we need to know what works and what doesn't, and really what you'd like to see. So, as I said, I think that's the last, this is the last slide, but yeah, hopefully you had a chance to talk to my colleagues at the start of the meeting and give us some of that feedback. And that's just the details of how you can feedback. The consultation, we're doing a consultation at the moment that runs till the 15th of September. Then we're going to produce any comments that we get, we'll feed back into the draft strategy, and we'll then do a more formal consultation, hopefully towards the end of the year, and aim to approve in March. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions from residents? No?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Yeah, my name is Edith. I'm new in the borough because I came from East London, then I live briefly just here in West London. It's my first time attending this forum, so I didn't have time because it was a longer strategy, so I didn't see everything. I hope you'll be, it's part of the project to provide more bike lanes, because this borough hasn't got bike lane. I'm a biker. I don't have a car, but since I came into this borough, I can't use my bike at all. So I think that would be so much effort.
So that's something we're definitely looking to deliver. So Cycleway 9, which at the moment goes from Chiswick to Brentford, but will come further west. And we're looking at, we've started to put segregated cycle lanes on Staines Road and Bath Road, so both west of Hounslow, town centre. We're doing some work in, got a couple of routes in Feltham, so Route 1, which heads up sort of through Feltham Arenas up towards Heath, towards A30, and Route 7, which through Cranford and up towards Southall. So we are delivering. It's got to be phased, but we have a priority cycle network which will be part of the transport strategy.
Yeah, what's the timeline, sorry? Is it till 2041 or is it starting very soon?
No, so we've already started to deliver the cycle improvements, but obviously it depends on funding, and a lot of that comes from TfL. So we are really keen to deliver more cycle lanes. TfL are really keen for us to deliver more cycle lanes, which is really good as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Enid, for your question, and very welcome as it's your first time coming today. Thank you for your response, Rob. Do we have any more questions from the audience before I ask members? Yep. Lady at the front. If you could please give us your name first. You can stay sitting, it's fine.
I'm sorry. My name is Mrs. Carmelita Ordona. I live in South Bilk Road. And because I live in the middle of the park, and we have so difficult to go and find the bus going outside. Especially me, I am out balance, And I saw also many students walking from all the council there up to the bus. And all the mothers pushing the pushchair. So if we can request, can we have a bus, even give them a time so that all the students and the mother who wants to go to the market, to the Hounslow or what, we will be happy to have that. Especially if they want to do exercise. Oh, I'm sorry. That is the only thing I want. Because I want to go out to buy something in the Feltham. You have to walk a long way to go and find the H25. It's nice to have 25, but the way they walk, it's too far, Or going to Stain, it's the same. It's nice to have a bus, but it's long way to walk from the council to the...
That's a very valid point. Rob, do we have...
I hope you can answer my request. Okay. Thank you so much.
I'll do my best, yeah. So we've been having some meetings with TfL about improving bus services in the borough, and it's one of the key things for us. There's a lot of the feedback we've had, and a lot of feedback that colleagues have had is about the bus network and making the bus network better. So as part of the consultation, we really want to hear about where TfL need to improve the bus network, whether that's additional bus routes or more buses, more capacity on buses. That's really important for us, and we're going to be looking at producing a public transport action plan, which will hopefully set out our aims for what we want to see as the bus network in the borough, and that will then form a basis for us to go and talk to TfL about making those improvements. Unfortunately, we are relied on TfL, but it is something that is really important.
Thank you very much. Sam, Chris in the back.
Hi, technically not this borough, but many people in Bedfont like to get about using the underground, and the step-free access or lack of is a real problem. And it seems to me that TfL have got it wrong, because it's a really highly used underground station, but when Kew Bridge and all these small stations like Isleworth get step-free funding ahead of Hatton Cross, which many residents in Bedfont would like to use, but they're too elderly, they're disabled, and they can't get down there, it really is unfair. And I really think that TfL have got that wrong, given the volume of people that would like to use it. And Bedfont has got such a low transport index, because it hasn't got that many buses, relatively. So I really think, I know it's in Hillingdon, but if you can use your influence for the local residents, that would make a huge difference, I believe. Thank you.
I'll certainly take that away and we can talk to TF, we can raise that with TfL. It's slightly an odd situation because obviously it is in Hillingdon, but probably doesn't really serve Hillingdon residents. So, yeah, I'll take that away and we can see what plans TfL have. Hopefully they have plans.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any further questions from members of the audience? Nope. Councillor Mitchell, I believe you had a question.
Yeah, we've recently got a new bus service on Westmacott, haven't we? Does that just run up to the airport? Does it not, Rob, does it not go down into the town?
Is that the H21?
Yeah, I think is that right, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes, H21. What is the route?
I don't have the route details to hand, but I was at... Yeah, so the gentleman there was raised it with me beforehand, so I've made a note to go and talk to TfL and to Heathrow, who are funding it, and they've just announced, I think, it's going to be run for another 12 months. So I've already got a note to talk to them about that.
I'm just thinking of facilitating something the lady was talking about, because she's in Southfield Road, which is quite close to there. So maybe we could build on that. Thanks.
So very good point, Councillor Mitchell. Any further questions from Councillor Tuck?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Rob, for the presentation. I see the targets that we have set ourselves. What's our aim? We are aiming 71% of journeys either by walk, cycle, or public transport by 2041.
Sorry, can I please just request a little bit of silence while Councillor is speaking?
Are we not setting ourselves a bit too lenient targets? Because we are trying to achieve it by 2041. We have 60% journeys already happening via this mode, and we are only looking at 71% by 2041, which is 17 years further down the lane from now, which I believe is increasing these type of journeys will help in achieving the other targets as well, reducing the CO2 emissions. And so is there any way we can bring the target forward, or?
So that target and the Vision Zero target are set for us by the Mayor of London. So it's in the Mayor's transport strategy. So he set a target for 80% of trips in the whole of London to be made by active travel or sustainable public transport by 2041. So the 2041 date is the date that the Mayor's transport strategy runs till. So he's given us a target of 71%. We've managed to reach 60% already, which is in advance of what the targets, the interim targets that we were set. So the answer to our question is I would hope we can get to 71% quicker, and I would hope that we can get more than 71%. That's the aim that we've got in the strategy. But if we can do more and go further, then I would be very happy.
Okay, because the heading here says our aim and not the target given to us. So that was a slight confusion there.
So, yeah, sorry for the confusion. Now we can look at that, how that's worded.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Lilybath.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I've just got a small point to make, really, and it's I know a few people have raised the issue around transport and buses, and Haddon Cross Station was raised. Can I just ensure that this is actually fed back as part of the consultation? Because I'm aware that a lot of people will talk to us rather than perhaps maybe not going online to fill. So I just want to make sure that we capture this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. Councillor Sidhu.
Thank you, Chair. Just a point to be noted, and if next time, next area forum, can we have somebody from Lime Bike to come and give a presentation, because there are so many issues concerning a Lime Bike in Feltham and Bedfont. So if we want some sort of assurance from the company that like they will be looking after our roads and the pavements in a better way than what they are doing at the moment. So next time if they can come and brief the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sidhu. Both your point and Councillor Bath's point have been noted. Any more questions? Yep, Alan?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Rob, does parking play any part in this strategy, or is that separate entirely?
So it's linked. So we've adopted a parking strategy recently. So the transport strategy is kind of the overarching strategic direction. So the parking strategy provides more detail on how we will take parking, or how we will approach parking in going forward. So it's within that document rather than the transport strategy.
Could I ask that you also look at discussions with people like town centre management in Feltham? We permanently have 60% unused parking spaces when there's a premium on parking in and around the town centre because of the growth we've had with the homes that have been built. That's something which I know Aviva, who own the town centre, see the council as a competitor, but it's a discussion we should be having, because I think it's nuts. The fact that all these parking spaces are sat there and they're not being used, when they could be used with some sort of, thought and a discussion between us, the local authority, and Aviva, town centre management. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Any further questions? No? Okay, now we move on to the next part of the agenda, which is the open forum. Now, this is an opportunity for members of the public to engage with the councillors to raise any matters of local concern. This is your forum and your views are very welcome here. But just before I begin, I would like members and the audience to note a few points. These are that please bear in mind the guidelines for public participation, that it may not be possible to have a detailed discussion or response at the meeting. This, however, does not mean that we will not get back to you. So if there is something that you feel that has not been addressed adequately, please do see me at the end and we will take this further. Additionally, points raised will be noted, as I've said, and then they'll be given to the relevant officer or team leader. The protocol for the open forum, which you're probably all familiar with anyway, is that speakers will be allowed at the chair's discretion, as mentioned earlier. The chair will normally allow only one contribution per person per item, just for the interests of time, and one item per person per meeting. Additionally, items on the main agenda should not be raised in the open forum. Items where the debate cannot be contained within public forum may be continued at a future forum or may be put on a future agenda with an officer's report. Is everybody clear with that? Yeah, thank you. So now I'd like to open the floor for the area forum. Yep. At the back. Can we?
My name's Malcolm.
Sorry, could you please start by giving your name? I didn't get that. Do you want to repeat it? Sorry,
My name's Malcolm.
Thank you, Malcolm. Welcome.
I've lived in the borough all my life. Forgive me if what I'm about to say is not right, but from social media, I learnt that the Labour councillors had a meeting, including Councillor Tack, who was elected as a Tory, at which you were asked to turn your phones off and not record it because you were discussing a shortfall in the budget. Plus, you had used up about 50% of the council's reserves. I'd be very interested to learn if that's right, and if that is right, and there is a shortfall, what you're going to do about it.
Thank you very much for your question, Malcolm. I don't feel that this is the right opportunity for me to address that question, but you're more than welcome to see me at the end and we can discuss that. We had a Labour group meeting, but unfortunately I can't disclose.
You were asked to turn your phones off and not record it because you were discussing finance.
I will not be able to comment on that further, I'm afraid.
Delicate to the council party.
Information on social media is not always accurate, and we did not disclose anything.
That's why I'm asking the question. Was it accurate?
I cannot comment any further on that, I'm afraid.
So from that comment, I take it was accurate. and
I
you're
cannot
trying to
comment, I'm
hide
afraid.
something.
Sorry. Thank you.
Sorry? I won't be here at
No,
the
yeah.
shortly.
Yep. I believe there was somebody in the back on the right-hand side first. Yep.
Hi, good evening. My name is Henrietta Perez, and I've lived in this borough for the last 14 years. However, for the last 4 years, we've bought a property in Southwell Road. And basically, my worry and concern is about the antisocial behavior that's on the rise. And we are finding it really hard to live in that place, which we've made our home. It has just been deteriorating, escalating to a level where even my 10-year-old now is refusing to live in that property that we bought and we made it our home. From our home being burgled to us witnessing on a daily basis of how our children are being treated and members of our community are being treated, I am very worried and concerned. Yes, the police have been notified, but I just want to know what are the next steps and how are we meant to be feeling safe in the community we have made it our home.
Thank you very much for your question. You've raised some very valid points. Do we have anybody from the Safer Communities who would like to answer? Okay. 1 second. If not, I'm going to hand it over to Councillor Sidhu, who's the relevant cabinet member.
Thank you, Henrietta, and thank you. I think Mr. Sharma is around today as well. Yes, I received the emails from them over the weekend, and I will take it up with the police and with the enforcement team, and because that's a private block of flats, and I also advised Mr. Sharma to write to the management company and CC me with that, because if the culprits are coming in the property without the fob keys, so it's their responsibilities that how these antisocial behavior are occurring inside the block, because that's not a council block, but they got some duty of care towards the residents. But I will take it up with enforcement.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sidhu. I think there's a gentleman in the back. Yep, resident in the back.
Good evening. My name's Claire. I'm from Friends of Hatton Fields. I am aware that the local plan has been released recently, and we're waiting for the public consultation to open so that we can give some feedback on the amount of greenbelt that is proposed to be being released for development in this borough, including Bedfont, Hatton Fields. I've not seen anything. It's been 5 or 6 weeks since the plan was released. Is there an update on the date when the consultation will open, please?
Thank you very much. Do we have any officers who can answer? Yeah. If you see me at the end, I'll take your details and I can provide you with an update. Yep. Thank you. Any further questions? Yep. Emily, if you would just like to walk around with the mic, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Angela Parton. I'm Chair of Friends of Feltham Green. Over these past 10 years, I do connect with other groups in the area, and if there is a concern or issue, and if it is something I would be able to help with, then I will. Recently, at Church Road allotments, there is a group there that is chaired, has a constitution and everything. The chair has done so much wonderful work at Church Road allotments, but unfortunately there is a small group of allotment owners that didn't take very kindly being told the laws and bylaws of owning an allotment plot at Church Road. And the allegations that this person has been having is absolutely astounding. And the decision of Greenspace 360 to evict him from his allotment is absolutely so wrong. So when it's just like me, if somebody was throwing allegations at me, what support does the volunteers have? How's the council? You have support from your lawyers and whatever sort of thing, to support you. But with the volunteers or groups, community groups, what support can they have? And to have a true hearing on both sides of the story before a decision is made to evict somebody that has done so much for the community and for that area. So I would like to, the head of the council has offered his help, but can you please advise what support can we give to this gentleman, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angela. Would any members like to come in? Emily at the back.
Councillor Aston, we do have enforcement here. Thomas, is it all right?
We've got enforcement that can...
Yeah, good evening. I'm Thomas Blackford. I'm Senior Principal Regulatory Officer for the enforcement team. Just it's obviously a very specific issue, but obviously I have been partially involved with that, and I know that Greenspace and the allotments team have taken legal advice on this particular issue. In terms of us, we have been offering support to all allotment holders. We've been conducting high visibility patrols at Church Road and at other allotments where residents have raised issues, obviously to the legal points as to what assistance the council can give plot holders and community groups. That would perhaps be something better suited to yourselves to answer, but just on that particular issue, obviously if you, yeah, of course we can have a chat afterwards, yeah.
Yep, Emily, if you want to...
And I'd just like to say that I know the community safety team have been working with enforcement and other teams within the council to provide support around this. So again, definitely would love to connect with you on that, Angela, if you think that there isn't enough support being given. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. You just about got your voice there.
Sorry, everybody.
Okay. Right, who had their hand up next? I think... Yep. Carol, back.
How could we miss her?
Hi, once again, it's me. Parking is the biggest issue that we've got on this estate, and there's going to be big trouble when that other block is built, and they're all going to be told to park on here again, as the housing officers told the 105 flats across the road to park on this estate. Joke.
Thank you, Carol. Do we
this
have...
has been going on, if you ask Alan, for many years. How many years, Alan? 10. Yeah, and what's been done? Jack. So what is going to be done? Jack, I suppose, again.
Yeah. Carol, if you just hold on, we do have an update on this coming in the agenda as we go on.
Wow.
But in the meantime, if somebody from parking does want to say a few things on the matter, do we have anybody from parking here?
There's big issues with big vans, with big lorries that are being parked on here, causing obstructions. If there's a serious accident on this estate, somebody's going to get killed because they could not get a fire vehicle. No. This guy, this gentleman here lives on the estate as well. And
we are from Feltham, which is the new 3 buildings.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry. Can we give him the mic, please?
We live in the Feltham Road, which is the 3 new buildings done last year, and 2 more is coming. At the moment, in the one building, we have a 5 parking space for the whole 54 flats. 56. And all the parking is occupied by the people who's coming and traveling to the central London. So it's a big issue, and there's no parking space there.
Okay. We do have an update on that later on. If you could just hold on, please. Any further questions? I think she's already had one. I think, Eden, you've already had one question. I'm just going to see if anybody else has a question before I come back to you, if that's okay, please. Thank you. No. No further questions. Tony, did you have your hand up? No. Okay. Could I ask you? I have another one. Because we're still on time, I'll let Eden have another question. Can you pass it the mic, please?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm breaching your protocol. It's in relation to still security issues in my area. So as I said, I'm new here, and my building is just the one close to Feltham High Street, where the Western Homes, they've got a house there. So I've been there now for a year plus. It's really become the antisocial behavior there. We have our bikes in our rooms because they break through the doors. The doors are always constantly repaired. And as well as the car park, they break in there, homeless people sleeping and doing their stuff. And where we have our electricity, meter there, so the key got lost or got broken. They use it as their toilet, So whenever you shut the door, you have to be careful because anything Amazon delivery people leave there, they walk in and steal them. So it's really become a horrible place. And you see them and you tell them, you go and report them to police. They say, oh, please do nothing to us. So I know that area being in the center of Feltham, so many homeless people living there. So you don't feel safe, just as they don't feel safe when you go to the pond area in the center, that beautiful pond. So yeah, it's terrible. I don't know what's the place. We don't see them anymore. So.
Okay, thank you. Even Councillor Mitchell, do you want to come in on that?
Sorry, can I just ask one? Where is it you live exactly?
The Feltham, you see the High Street Tesco, where...
Do you live in the Western Homes development?
Yes, I do. So we are all owners. We are all owners there.
Okay, yeah. I'm in almost constant communication with residents that are in the residents group. This has gone on for a number of years.
Yes, okay.
There is a private management company run on behalf of Westerns called Rose Tree Management, who should, again, as Councillor Sidhu was mentioning earlier with his case in Bedfont, they should be taking a lead there. The police do know what's happening there. The community knows what's happening there. But Western Homes, through their agent, should take a lead on behalf of you, the residents, as part of our...
They are not doing that, unfortunately.
In which case, please give us those notes at the end, and we'll make sure that they do know about it, because it's not satisfactory what you're describing. Yeah. It's much worse than I've heard what you're saying.
It is, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mitchell. Was there any other hands up? Nope. Yep, one at the back. Carol.
Weeds around the whole of the Hounslow borough. It is absolutely disgusting. On the estates, we pay extra.
So Carol, Tim Hurley from Highways is here, so can we give it to him, Councillor Rossett?
Yep.
Cheers.
Yeah, weeds. Lots of them. Do you want to walk? I'll take you out there and show you. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm going to tell everybody on this estate to stop paying their service charges. Because you shouldn't be getting it because you're not doing it.
Let him respond.
No, I've had enough.
Good evening. Tim Hurley from Hounslow Highways. So there's two sections of road here. There's on the estate, that's housing. So that's clear by housing. I do the adopted road network. I say I do. We know that there's issues with weeds. So I don't know if everyone knows, but we went to a non-chemical solution 4 years ago, which essentially means mechanical weeding. So all the money that we used to put into glyphosate went into more people on the ground. And in this case, now 3 times more that we used to spend on glyphosate is going into more people on the ground. We appreciate that because we're not using chemicals, it's not killing the germination. So not only is it taking longer to get round to the weeds, there's also more germination. As the weeds seed each season, there's more and more problems that we have to deal with. We have tried many different solutions. There is nothing that is cost effective or that can be used on a mass scale other than just putting more people on it for the time being, but we are still looking at other solutions for that. We have, what do we have? We have 3 times the amount of resource that we'd normally have trying to clear the weeds. It's just taking longer to get round to it. If you've seen our crews out there, they're doing the best job they can. It's just taken them longer to get round to getting it done. We used to do weeds from around May to September. Now we're doing weeds from February all the way through to October. And part of that's also the changing weather patterns. So I don't know if you've noticed, but it's generally warmer. And also there's a lot more rain. And those of you that have gardens are probably seeing the same thing. So as well as all the chemical issues that we have, or not using chemicals, the environment is just generally more conducive to weed growth. So we're having to deal with it all the way through the year. I can't stand here and tell you, look, we've got a solution. 2 weeks' time, all the weeds will be gone from the roads. That's not what's happening. This is about redressing the balance environmentally, about what we think our priorities are. Do we think our priority is a weed-free street, which involves the use of chemicals, which can go into the water system, potentially, and reduce biodiversity? Or do we think it's on accepting that biodiversity and using less chemicals is better for us environmentally, but we have to accept more weeds? Our challenge is to get the balance right so that, okay, there's a bit more weed out there, but there are less weed, okay? But again, we have to sometimes accept a compromise. I don't get paid, and my company does not get paid any more money for doing weed growth this year. All the money that... So again, we've got to get the compromise right. So I'm not going to stand here and tell you that we'll get all the weeds gone. It's making sure that we deal with the ones that need to be done quickly, because they can cause access and obstruction issues for people, especially, for example, in wheelchairs or with prams. So for those, you need to report them through to us, and we'll prioritise those and try and do those roads first. As well as that, there is a programme on our website of 315 roads that we are planning to attend this year, and then we will deal with the rest of the roads reactively and with the resource we have.
Okay, thank you there, Tim. Emily?
Can I just come back in? I think, as you said at the beginning, the issues on the estate belong to housing. Is that correct, Tim? Yes. Yeah, so... Yeah, but we need to check exactly where they are. And Jyoti, if you could do me a favour, if we could just note that we need to speak to housing about specific land ownership, where those weeds are. So, you know, we know what's Tim's team and we know what's housing, and we can really make sure that the weeds that are in the wrong places. I know, we need to take it higher. So if we could note that today.
Thank you, that has been noted, Emily, thanks. Were there any further questions? Yep.
Hi, I live in Bedfont.
Sorry, could you start by introducing yourself, please, sir?
My name's Kieran Murphy. I
Nice
live
to
in
meet you.
Bedfont, near Bedfont Library, and I don't know if it's a pet problem, but I've lived around here for a very long time, for over 70 years, and I've never seen the area so infested with rats. Now, there are either people's pets that have escaped, which I don't think they are, but it's just unbelievable that just walking around the alleyways across the road, there are so many rats around here. Maybe they've been underground before. I mean, they say there's more rats than people, but we used to have proper control around here. I've spoken previously to the council concerning this matter, and they told me, oh, they can't put out any poisons because it's not environmentally friendly. However, if you look at Bedfont Library, it's surrounded with the rat boxes. So they can when they want to on their own property, but when we identify this as a big issue, because if you've got one rat, believe you me, their breeding cycle is quite strong compared to a human being, and so that's why there are more rats than people. We need some effective control. I've heard silly stories from the council. Oh, it's because of all the food shops that are around. It's not. It's because there is no longer any control measures in force. I'm only speaking about Bedfont. I can see people nodding because I'm sure it's not restricted to Bedfont only, because the same policy applies throughout the borough. Could we have some strategy for, as much as getting rid of the weeds, can we get rid of the rats at the same time? Thank you.
Thank you very much there, sir. I'll hand over to Bedfont councillors if they'd like to come in on that.
The
the green back of Bedfont Library, there was a cleanliness issue in last 1 month. I think that was really, I think there was a two bodies was like responsibility, that who's responsible for cleaning that, because that was Housing Association and Lambton 360, but now Housing Association take that responsibility, and that will be cleared once in a month. And if still is not satisfactory, probably we will revisit that again. So probably that may have change in there. So if there is not, we will revisit that.
I'm sorry, Councillor. My problem wasn't with Bedfont Library. My problem is the surrounding areas and housing estates, council housing estates in that area.
You mean Southwell Road?
I mean behind Bedfont Library, Grove Village, Grove Style Estate, the housing in Bedfont adjacent to the
I will
library.
speak to you after the meeting.
Please do.
Yeah, I will.
I have been round with a councillor inspecting the rats, but we didn't collect any of them.
We'll have a word afterwards.
Do you want to? Thank you very much. I think Councillor Bath had her.
I was just going to say the same, really. Happy to meet you outside, because if you've seen them on the estates, then we do need to have the officers to come and have a look. But I mean, it is difficult when, in terms of rats in your own property or in your own, it's quite difficult because they are generally everywhere. But if you think it's a big issue, wide issue along the estates, for example, you've seen them, then absolutely we can get someone to come and have a look. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Emily, did you want to have a...
I've just checked with a couple of colleagues in the room. I think this would probably come under animal control, but don't quote me. But yeah, definitely agree with the councillors. We're happy to have a walkabout and see who the right person is to deal with that issue.
That's great. Okay. Any further questions? Yep. Lady in the front.
Hi, my name is Barbara. Another concern is the fly tipping and graffiti. There is an awful lot of rubbish around, and if this can be improved somehow. And in connection with all the other ladies said about the antisocial behavior, unfortunately often it takes a very long time before there is some sort of intervention, and one has to write a lot of reports, emails. Sometimes it could be your next door neighbor, and it's an absolute nightmare. It can take years if times of intervention could be reduced. And often it seems that, although I appreciate all the work the council and the police is doing, it seems like their hands are tied and they can't do so much. So if it would be possible to make improvements in those areas. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Councillor Sidhu, if you'd like to come in first.
Yes, regarding the fly tipping, like if it is reported to Hounslow Highways, that's picked up normally within 24 hours, because we have a PFI contract with Hounslow Highways. They're doing an amazing job. And once reported, they normally pick within 24 hours. But sometimes that areas are not looked after by Hounslow Highways, looked after by different other agencies. So in that case, if you find there's a hot spot, do email your councillor so that we can find out who's responsible, and we can put pressure on that particular body that why it's not cleared.
Also, there is an awful lot of rubbish towards, like, with the train, the underpassages, for instance, towards Westmarco Drive, Appleby Gardens, the pits, those areas, and it's so full of rubbish. I'm not just talking about the fly tipping, but also a lot of rubbish lying around the pits, that area, that side. Well.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sidhu, for your input. Also, I don't know if you're familiar with the Fix My Street app, which if you have a smartphone, you can just download it. And what that does is it just picks up the live location, and usually the response on that is very, very quick. It's the same one we councillors use as well. So you can just take a photograph, send it off, and it'll pick up your live location. It's really worth getting that. Yep, thank you. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say...
Sorry, can you start by your name, please?
Oh,
sorry.
My name is Mary Therese Lee, and I'm here with my husband, Daniel. We live in Guildford Avenue, where we've lived for more than 50 years. And I want to say thanks in particular to our local councillor, Alan Mitchell. I contacted him about various issues and he was very prompt about responding and coming to visit and dealt with the issues. And I just want to say thank you in general for the work that's being done.
Thank you. Any further questions? Yeah.
My name is Melvin Gomes and I stay in Southville Road. I'm worried about the speeding cars and the bikes. There are no speed cameras anywhere around, and the cars and bikes comes at a very high speed. Sometimes I take my children out and I'm worried the bike just moves in so quickly there can be an accident or something like that on the roads. I don't want that to happen for our children. So can you do something about speeding cameras somewhere so that at least we can capture the people who are doing that?
Did you say you live on Southville Road? Southville, yeah. Yeah, if I can ask local councillors.
We'll discuss about that,
Okay,
definitely, yeah, after the meeting.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Hands up. Oh, hello, Tony.
Yeah, and Tony?
Yeah, Tony Fred John. I'm a resident of Rochester Avenue Estate. Now, it's similar to what that man said. We have put these new 20-mile-an-hour road mile-an-hour restrictions in the road, correct?
Yeah.
Right, I think what you're saying, is there any way we can do cameras? Because there's so many people come down the Rochester Estate doing more than 20 mile an hour, round the corner and going into Riley Road as well. Now, it's quite clear it's 20 mile an hour. There's no excuse for that. So is there any way we can enforce it, or what can we do to catch people? Because every day, both ways, in and out, Alan, it's terrible. You know, I can't even park in my own driveway because people come so fast down the road, we can't reverse into the drive. And it's been like that ever since that 20 mile an hour has been set. Is it clear when you come from Riley Road to our estate that it's 20 down there as well? Is that clear? So what I'm saying is we live in Rochester, so it's 20 there, 20 down Rosemead Avenue. Is the whole of Riley Road 20 as well? There's a whole of 20 there. So the whole of that is 20 mile an hour. Who enforces the 20 mile an hour when people go too fast? There seems to be nobody enforcing it, or no cameras, like the gentleman was saying, to do this. So is there anything we can comment on that? Thank you.
I think, Tony, if you see either one of us at the end, and we'll go over that. Yeah, thank you. Any further questions? Yeah, George?
George from Feltham, okay. Whose idea was it to make the road between Chubb Fire and the Assembly Hall 20 mile an hour when it's 30 towards Hatton Cross, and then as soon as you get past the Assembly Halls it's 30 again? That road, why make it 20 mile an hour? All the houses are well back from the road, there's no school, you know, in fact, the house is back onto that road. So why make it 20 mile an hour for a mile? It's just to catch people out, isn't it? Because what happens is, once they've gone over the bridge and past the Assembly Halls towards Sunbury, they still think it's 20 mile an hour, and they're too scared to go 30. You know, they see a speed sign, they go, so everyone's going along at 20. So whose idea was that, just to make that section 20 mile an hour, and why?
Okay, thank you for that. George, do we have anybody from transport here who might be able to answer that? Yeah, Emily?
I'm not a transport officer, as many of you know, but I've had this issue in many places in Hounslow. So it's really interesting to hear you want it 20. Most people want it to stay 20.
And Hatton Road's the same. You come from Hatton Cross to the bit where you stop and let other people come the other way, and you've got, and I've told Councillor to do both, and you've got the entrance to the park, you've got the entrance to the football club, you've got the entrance to the allotments, you've got a bus stop there when you're coming from Hatton Cross, and then the buses coming towards Hatton Cross, they can't indicate they're stopping at the bus stop because there's Keynes Lane there, and it looks like they're going to Keynes Lane. So I've actually ruined a tyre on my car thinking the bus was going to stop at the bus stop, and it didn't, it just carried on. What is the whole point of it? It's just a nuisance. It's just a nuisance. And there's one the other. It was 20 mile an hour from that one to the one at the two bridges, but now it's 20 mile an hour right down to Bedfont Green. You know, you're doing 30, 20. People are spending more time looking at their speedometer than they are looking at the road. In fact, future cars are going to have speedometer transferred onto the windscreen so you know how fast you're going.
Okay. Thank you, George. Firstly, sorry to hear about your car, and then I'll just pass you on to Councillor Bath.
I don't have an answer to this, but it was raised with me at a councillor's surgery recently, not the specific road that you're mentioning, but part of Hatton Road. And I can it is frustrating when it changes from 20 to 30 and then changes back again very quickly. I have asked for it to be looked into, because I think part of the problem is that part of it is TfL, so it then gets quite complicated and convoluted. But once I find out what the rationale behind is, hopefully that I will be able to. That rationale, I suspect, is applied to the road that you're talking about, but we'll definitely get it looked into, I think.
Thank you, Councillor Bass. We have noted that, George, so as soon as we receive any updates, we'll let you know. Okay. Any further questions? Nope. Okay. Looks like we need to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the area forum changes. And we have a presentation from Thomas Allen, who is the Community Development Manager, on changes to the area forum. So over to you, Alan. Sorry, Thomas Allen.
Hello, my name is Thomas Allen. I'm the Community Development Manager, so I manage Emily and a bunch of other community development officers responsible for putting on the forums as well as working with residents to identify their priorities, aspirations and needs, and then working with the community to help address them. Can I have the clicker thing? Is this the right? Yeah, this one? Does that work? Which one, sorry? This one here. Okay, got it. Here we go. So first off, I just want to say thank you for having me, and also thank you so much for all of you who have given feedback via the feedback forms or directly to officers over the past few years. We've been working quite hard over the last year to improve area forums, and your feedback has been a really, really important part of that process. On average, around 80% of those who have attended and filled out a form have said that the area forums are good or very good, and that the marketplace section that we have at the beginning, where we have food and community groups, etc., are very popular, and there's a desire for more of that and more engagement and conversation with residents. Residents have also told us that they want more involvement from community groups, like Carol and others here today, and a stronger community focus in general. Also, the Area Forum Action Plan, where that's been trialled, and we'll talk about that in a bit more detail later, has also been very popular in terms of keeping the area forums focused on delivering meaningful outcomes for residents. We want to go further, though. It's a priority for the council to improve the way in which it consults and engages with the residents, and area forums like the meeting tonight are a critical and crucial way in which residents can influence how the council does its stuff. So in terms of how it will be improved, hopefully you've noticed the new welcome desk that's at the front when you come in. We've now got a process for helping guide you to the services or the councillors that you want to speak to. And if those services aren't there, then my team will sit with you and work out who the right person is to speak to, and get that email or phone call made there and then, which is very good. We've also introduced more ways to ask questions. Hopefully you notice the anonymous drop box as you come in. So if you don't feel confident enough to stick your hand up and ask a question, it can be quite scary. You can drop an anonymous question in the box or speak to a member of team. We're soon to have some purple shirts so they're easily identifiable. And you can ask us to ask your question on behalf. We'll also be having some more online mechanisms which will be introduced very shortly. We use the action plan here at Bedfont and Feltham. It's been largely successful and quite popular. We've taken that idea and enhanced it, and there will be more about this in this short presentation. We'll also be introducing themed area forums. You may have noticed in the far corner there's a kind of post-it note exercise, and I had a couple of my team members available. What we want to hear is what types of things do you want to see at future forums. It might be a healthcare focus, or it might be a parking or traffic or transport focus. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities for residents to input into that and help the chair pick the right themes and focus for the forums, and we'll talk about that in a bit more as well. And then likewise, community steering groups is something new that we'll be looking to launch as well. So this will be new ways in which you as residents can get involved in organising and delivering the forums to make sure that they're focusing on things that you want them to focus on, supporting the chair. And finally, in case you haven't got the gist of all of this, a greater community focus in general with more community groups like we had today on the agenda. In terms of what won't change with the new approach and improvements is the open forum section that we've just had. Residents have told us loud and clear that is an extremely valuable section for people to have, so that bit will remain. And the role of the chairs and the councillors to be here to answer your questions and guide the meeting. So the Area Forum Action Plan, some of you would have heard of this before. So what it is in the enhanced version will be a way to explore ideas and address concerns of the community. Crucially, a way to bring the community together along with council services and partners. So this won't be simple request making. It will be about working together and talking through with the community about what you can bring solutions-wise to the table as well. It will be a tool to support councillors as community leaders, as you'll see in a second, but also a tool for this forum to help make sure that what we're talking about and the actions that we're agreeing get delivered. In terms of what it is not a list of unachievable or unclear actions. There will be mechanisms in place to help people be more clear on what they want to achieve. It will not be a list of actions that don't have support from those that would be responsible for delivering it, so you have to work together to get it done. It won't be a list of business as usual items, stuff that council services should just be doing anyway. We have mechanisms in place for that, and the team will be available at the forum, as I said earlier, to help you find the right people to get resolutions. It also won't be a replacement for working directly with councillors, as we've seen a lot here tonight. They will still help you on casework, on your personal and specific issues. And it won't be a replacement for petitions or our complaints processes. Again, we will guide you through those at the right time. So how does it work? There are a couple of steps to this. So first off, a resident will have an idea about a priority or an aspiration. This could be about tackling weeds, or maybe working with the community or working with council services to tackle speeding or exploring what the solutions are to that. So you have an idea, you can come and speak to a councillor, or you can come and speak to me or any member of my team at a community development desk. Oh, sorry, I realised that my on's not catching up. And we will work with you to explore what that looks like and how it can be achieved. So we will then go to all the different services and councillors and have a think about whether or not this action is developed, is possible to deliver, and then find a way to make it so. If the idea has support from those that would deliver it, we then bring it to this forum where people talk about that idea, and you as residents have the opportunity to ask questions about it or throw support behind it, or maybe even volunteer to get involved. Next section is, once that's agreed with the forum and everyone's happy, it then gets added to the action plan, and a councillor will be allocated as an action champion. And that action champion will essentially be responsible for leading a working group behind the scenes and between forums to try and track, get things moving along, make progress, and then report back at the next forum. Residents will be able to view the progress of each action either at the forums, online through new pages that we're developing, or by contacting either a councillor or one of my team, and we'll quite happily update you and take on any questions or suggestions. Finally, once it's achieved, we will kind of celebrate it, add it to the done list, and hopefully inspire other forums to do similar things. So that's the Area Forum Action Plan. Another major kind of change that we'll be introducing, as I said earlier, is themed area forums. So area forums will now be organised according to different themes. Themes allow us for a more deeper and more meaningful focus on particular topics. So rather than having, say, 10 minutes on just one thing, we can have a deep dive into it. Maybe we'll have different breakout sessions and different discussions that then feed back into a bigger debate or whatever. Area forums, though, will still have a wider range of services in attendance, so hopefully you'll still see the likes of housing and community safety, public health, etc. And communities, as started tonight, will have the opportunity to feed into what types of topics or things they want to discuss or services they would like to see. In terms of how they will be selected, so there are 4 area forums in a year, and the first of the cycle normally starts in the summertime after the chairs have been elected. So at that first forum in the summer, this is when the themes for the rest of the year will be selected, and we'll have a big activity where we talk about which ones we want to see and etc. And then the chair will make the decision either at the forum or shortly after as to what the following theme should be. We are trialling this today, so if you haven't already, make sure you speak to one of my team or me on the way out and get your theme suggestions in, and we will pitch them to the chair for the winter round and the spring round. Residents will also eventually be able to submit themes online through the new pages, which will be communicated in due course when they're ready, or by speaking to a councillor or one of us, or just coming to the forum on the night. As I said, the chair will make the decision after or immediately after. Finally is community groups, so a community steering group. So these are key ways in which like groups of residents and representatives and communities that are linked to a particular theme can support the chair to deliver the area forum. It's also a means to, the role of the steering group will be to sort of help their colleagues, their peers, people from their community to come, participate, share their views, etc. What they're not is a replacement of the officer group, so my team will still be there supporting the chair to organise and deliver the forum, and they won't be kind of formal constituted groups with power over the chair either. There is a collaborative informal group. So yeah, as I said, the community steering groups have the ability to recommend agenda items, specific areas of focus according to a theme. So if we had mental health, for example, health, you might want to focus on mental health or social care provision or something like that. They might be also able to recommend services or community organisations to participate in the forum, as well as suggest the best format to deliver and discuss the chosen theme. At the moment, we have that sort of first hour of informal marketplaces and then this sort of quite formal Q&A session, but there might be scope to do that differently or have conversations in a different way. And so we'd like to open it up to the community to support the chair to have a think about how to get more community participation. And finally, there will be options to play a role in the event itself, whether that's facilitating a workshop, leading a discussion yourself, or helping the team with volunteers at the door, etc. So that's basically all of the changes in a nutshell and all the improvements we're looking to make. They're listed there, and if it's okay with you, Chair, I'd like to take some questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation there, Thomas. These new changes highlight the importance of ensuring that area forums continue to be fit for purpose and have the residents at the heart of them. With that, I'd like to open the floor to residents for questions of Thomas. Any questions? Yep, gentleman in the front.
You've probably covered it, but when people question and ask you things, you tend to say, see me afterwards. Now, that might be due to time, or it could be down to personal things or whatever. But I think as a community, we need to know the answers to those things that have been raised, or at least for you to explain what you're going to be talking to the person about afterwards. Is there a way of reporting this? Is there a way of doing that? Because otherwise we don't get to know the solution. And sometimes these things don't necessarily have to go on forever. It could be that we feel comfortable because some of these problems that people have had, we might be having. So it'd be useful to know how you're going to resolve it. So rather than take it off air, could you explain what you're going to be saying to that person? Unless, of course, it's personal, obviously. But, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, yeah, really, really good point. We picked up a lot of that through resident feedback surveys as well. So one of the other improvements that I didn't really mention that's quite operational, but we want more staff, like our housing colleagues here, to stay through the duration, especially through the open forum. So that if you do have those questions, we've got the experts to hand to be able to answer them. I think that's one of the main reasons why councillors are choosing to take it offline afterwards. Obviously, the personal stuff shouldn't be dealt with in a public forum. The other thing, as well as I mentioned the welcome desk there, it's what we want is when people are coming in through the door to make sure that they're guided to the right person to be able to answer those questions. Appreciating the open forum, it's about learning from others. So hopefully with more people in the room, that would help. The other thing we're hoping that will help with that is through themes. We're more likely to have a richer sort of mixture of community groups, of partners, of council services, so we'll have more experts in the room, which increase the likelihood of answers around those specific topics. But again, I guess there's a degree of limitation for that in the open forum, where a question might come in about a different theme. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I think the best we can do at the moment is making sure that we're getting questions in advance through the mechanisms that I mentioned, and then making sure that we've got our officers participating in the open forum section rather than leaving after that first hour.
Okay, thank you very much. Emily, in the back.
Hello, it's Angela Partner, Friends of Fountain Green. Like I said, the issue about Church Road, because community groups do work with other community groups in the area, and we have our ear to the ground, so we hear more things, issues and whatever that's concerning the community and residents. Obviously, the work of what we do, we would like to promote within the community to a greater audience. We're very fortunate where we are. We're on the high street and we do volunteer days and everything. And over the years, I'm hoping that the name Friends of Fountain Green is reaching out to people and what exactly we are doing for Feltham Green and the community within that area. Our cabin is being built as we speak, so I'm hoping the cabin is going to be a network system for other groups and for other residents. I think it would be better if that group can do a small presentation to explain their group and what they're doing within the community. It's okay having a table with, you know, pictures and leaflets or whatever sort of thing, but you do get a greater idea if that person or group does a small presentation to say, right, this is us, this is what we do. If you've got any concerns or issues, we might be able to help in that area, sort of thing, you know. So I'm suggesting that an opportunity within the Friends, within the F Forum, for a community group to do a small presentation to the audience of that day.
Yeah, it's a really, really excellent point, and definitely something we've seen where we've actually done that. Not only have we sort of had more of a community focus to the area forum, we've also had greater participation from the community that they work with and represent. So one of the recommendations that we have put to the chairs, in addition to the community steering group, is that sort of community spotlight item which we saw tonight with Bedfont Community Centre. So, I mean, obviously it's the discretion of the chair, so I'm hoping that's something maybe...
That's absolutely fantastic. I'm happy. Yeah, it's all about the community, so we want to celebrate our community champions.
Yeah, one other thing, if I may, as well. So, as I mentioned, themes are also another way in which this could be done. So there could be a community group theme, or if it's a friends of, there's lots of friends of groups, we could potentially have a theme that looks at them. It's down to the chair, but the more you communicate these good ideas to myself and my team, the more we can help the chair kind of support you to do this kind of thing. A really good idea. Sorry.
Thank you. Any other questions for Thomas? No? Any questions from members? No? Okay. Thank you. For the next part of for the next item on the agenda, the action plan updates, I'm going to be handing it over to Councillor Farmahan.
Sorry, I'm interrupting again. So yeah, obviously I talked about in that presentation a new enhanced area forum action plan. That is something that we'll be looking to bring in next time. So the council will give an update on the previous items that have been on there with the view that next time we will have an improved way of doing this. So over to you, Councillor. Thank you. Sorry to steal.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Thomas, for the update. First of all, I would like to to thank Councillor Alan Mitchell for his contribution to the Bedfont and Feltham Area Forum as a chairman. Councillor Hinamir and Councillor Alan Mitchell will highlight about the Feltham High Street engagement. Now I will now hand over to Feltham West councillors, Hinamir. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Famahan. So we have some update on High Street as a part of the action plan. Over the last year, Perfectly Imperfect have been delivering a capacity of building project in the High Street, including young people, parents and services. The project was funded by Violence Reduction Unit and secured by Safer Communities at Hounslow. This work concluded in an event celebrating this work led by young people who took part in the project and attended by families, residents, professionals and local councillors. The teams continue to seek funding to extend and expand this work. Most recently, Perfectly Imperfect have received funding for further outreach work on Feltham High Street and some funding from the My Ends Fund, which allowed the music bus to visit Feltham in August, allowing young people to create their own music and engage in positive activities. We have some more update on Safer Communities. Over to you, Councillor Mitchell. Thank you.
Yeah, as I said earlier, that was wonderful to see the young urban arts bus in Feltham and seeing young people engage with it. We need more of that, and that's why Perfectly Imperfect, what they do, Pulse Youth Club, everything on Highfield, Central Feltham is absolutely spot on. And thank you to the communities team that have given us support on that. And Safer Communities remain committed to working with our partners and supporting young people in the area. And if we think back 3 years to the Safer Feltham Town Centre initiative, former councillor Hanif Khan and myself, following some pretty awful behaviour in McDonald's in 2021, this has sort of snowballed. We've got more and more going on, more police patrols, more engagement with young people on the estates, with our professional teams, and most recently with the successful hire of uniformed patrolling officers to tackle ASB in the town centres, parks and open spaces. Patrols have commenced in Feltham High Street up to the War Memorial and the pond, Feltham Pond, and they've made valuable contacts within the community. That's absolutely key. We go into the community. We don't just take people away that have caused a problem, but we actually try and get to the root of why that problem's been caused, which is absolutely essential. Safer Communities are working with services as well to support rough sleepers and residents who struggle with substance abuse. It's an awful thing, but it's work that needs to be done and is being done. And the aim is to offer online Q&A sessions for various groups of residents who would like more insight into this, about the support which is offered and how they can help or refer those in need for appropriate assistance or indeed get involved themselves. My second point is indeed on Proctor's Close, which is where we are tonight. Historically, as Carol knows, as many of us know, we've had a quaint historic anomaly on this estate where housing is responsible for part of the roadwork and highways the other, which has often led to a sort of standoff. But it's something we're working on, you know, even if we have to bring Harry Potter in with his magic wand, we're going to try and sort this out. So, but what's happened here over the summer, fantastic news is, with a lot of pushing, the toilet renovations, starting with the ladies, has taken place. There's been some snagging, but it's nearly done. That took a lot of pushing, but it's fantastic that it's happened and it hasn't curtailed many of the activities that Carol wanted here over the summer. They've continued, which is absolutely marvellous. Now, the Thriving Communities team are working with Bedfont Lane Community Centre, Carol and her team, around other projects, gardening, community activities and more. In regards to ongoing parking complaints, I can remember sitting in here 9 years ago and there were about 7-8 people in the room and we were discussing a CPZ, and in the end, when it went to a vote, it was lost by 1. But, as you know, on this estate, on the Westmacott as well, just a little bit further up, you will see people's vehicles in the morning from Ashford from Staines, from Sunbury, going down towards Sunbury Cross, who come up here because they can get Zone 6 travel from Feltham Station into London. What can you do about that? Well, if the cars are taxed, there's nothing you can do about it. They're legally parked. But it doesn't help with the extra residents that are moving into the area for people to find parking here. So the residents are planning. This is step 2, a community meeting to discuss a collective way forward around these ongoing issues that are being experienced, because there isn't a controlled parking zone. And I think in the end it will have to come down to a consideration of that. Parking enforcement have got limited powers to issue fines due to this, so residents need to come and make a change and decide what is best for them. And residents will share the data as soon as that's agreed, and I'll be liaising with the council teams on that and Carol's people here. Thank you very much. Oh, the other thing, yes, parking, TCM, town centre management. I still find it an anomaly that they've got 60% open spaces, they're unused spaces, and we can't get a better use of that for the community when there's a premium on parking. But that is a work in progress. Thank you. Over to... Where's Councillor Akram gone? There he is. Sorry, I misread it. There you go. Please stay awake, folks. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to announce regarding the cricket pitch, which has been ready to use in Feltham. The non-turf cricket pitch has been installed on the gravity feed at the Feltham Park. This pitch serves as the third and the final installment and completes the project for Feltham. The project was funded by the English Cricket Board and initially by the park team. The goal was to increase cricket provision and provide free, accessible recreation to the resident while increasing buy-in of the local park and open spaces. I would like also thank you to the chair and the Alan Mitchell as well. We initiated took the last year request, and you done very quickly as we promised. We done in this summer, and the pitch is used in this summer. Thank you very much for it. Thank you. Yeah, people can play the cricket in the fair. Enjoy the summer.
Thank you, Councillor Karum. Now I'll invite Mr. Councillor Tuck about Weber Bridge highlight.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
My update is regarding the widening of Weber Bridge. We can't necessarily widen the existing bridge, so there are proposals going on to raise a structure parallel to it. We did provide an update in March that a feasibility study is going on. Now the feasibility work continues to move forward, and it's now entering in its final stages. And since our last update in March, the feasibility phase of the project has been completed, and work to secure the necessary approvals to allow the project to progress in its next stage, concept design, is nearing a conclusion, and we expect to begin the concept design in autumn. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tuck. Now I'll invite Councillor Nagra to highlight some future action plan items. Thank you.
Hello, hi, good evening, everyone. And thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ashish, for letting me know. It's basically, I would like to give some updates about what's going to happen, action plan items we're taking considered in future. As you know, all we councillors are working with traffic on other issues raised by residents, and these are currently under consideration for addition to the action plan. And if you have any pending issues or any pending updates from our forum, please contact even one of our councillors here for an interim update. This includes those items for Feltham North noted in the announcement section at the start of the forum. As already Robert was here as well, he given much information about you as well, but still if you have any more updates, you need to know that, please you can ask us or just get the more updates in the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nagra. Now I'll invite Councillor Sedu to update on Grove Village, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Grove Village was ongoing problems for fly tippings, and there's this land which was not looked after by anyone. So with the partnership with local colleagues from housing, neighborhood enforcement, Lambton green spaces and places for people, we all got together, and now we are in a position to itemize the areas when they will be cleared, and it is regularly cleared. Now within 15 days to 1 month, some of the areas are cleared within 15 days, which are where more fly tippings are gathered there. We are regularly looking into the places where around Southwell area where there is open space which is not again looked after by anyone, but like Lambton is taken the ownership, and they will be clearing that within 15 days. So at the moment, this Grow Village is not an action plan because the things are under control, but we will keep on monitoring that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sidhu, for the updates. Now, I'll invite Councillor Lilivath for the future action plan items, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to give you a bit of a background to Bedfont High Street. So we've had a number of complaints around some issues on Bedfont High Street. So, for example, uneven pavements, which are obviously a trip hazard for pedestrians. We've had complaints about cars parking inconsiderately around areas, which are then, of course, cause safety issues. So myself and my ward colleagues, along with the various teams in the council, did do a walk around to discuss a sort of way forward. But as everything, it's quite complex. Some of the areas where the actual pavements are uneven and a trip hazard don't actually belong to the council. So in other words, they are private. So it's really a question of us working with the business owners to try and point out their obligations under health and safety. So we are currently doing that. Where we can do things as a council, so for example, place bollards in places to stop cars mounting pavements, we can, but obviously that depending on cost, etc. as well. But where we need to work with the business owners, we will continue to do that. Unfortunately, it's not something you can solve overnight, and it is a bit frustrating, but we will continue to endeavour to work on this, because I think it's really important issue in terms of health and safety for pedestrians as well. So I think it is sort of on our action plan, but there are some things that will not be achievable very quickly. But I think the best thing is to obviously keep it on the agenda and keep letting your councillors know if there's anything, anything that we're not aware of. And we will keep you informed of any changes that we're able to make or get the business owners to make. But I hope that's a little bit of background and give you an idea of what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lilivath. Now I'll hand over to Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Farmahan. Well done for everyone for hanging on. We're going towards the end of the meeting. Next item on the agenda is any other business. Do members have any other business to report that is urgent? I've not been informed of any either. Okay, date of the next meeting is the 28th of November. The venue is yet to be confirmed, but we will update you as soon as we hear from that. On a final note, a huge thank you to everybody for coming and bearing with me for almost 3 hours as it was my first meeting as chair, and I look forward to working and meeting everybody in future meetings as well. Thank you very much. Thank you. If any residents do have feedback,